Welcome Sorcerers, I'm your humble host Eunice and you're watching Contested Cards. In today's episode we catch up on everything that happened in the world of Sorcery regarding its upcoming expansion Arthurian Legends. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my first video on the topic from all the way back in January, as most of the things I said there still hold relevance to what we'll be discussing today. But before we dive back into the realm of Arthur and his knights, let's first talk about some news. Eric's Curiosa has been gradually releasing new information over the past few months. Most importantly, we now know that Arthurian Legends is expected to release on October 4th, with the official unveiling and launch happening at Spiel Essen in Germany from the 3rd to 6th of October. Spiel Essen is the largest board gaming convention in the world and signals a clear push for the European market, besides providing a befitting stage for a set steeped in European mythology. By the way, the name sounds weird in German as well. Apart from the release date, we've also learned that Arthurian Legends will include more than 250 new artworks. So that means around the same mark for cards. While 250 is significantly lower card pool than what beta offered, we'll have to wait and see how much impact that will really have over a longer time span. Alpha and Beta proved to have ridiculous longevity in terms of depth and mechanical exploration, not only through its enormous set size, but also expert design that will only be expanded by a fresh set of cards. Additionally, the team at EC put emphasis on a more focused draft experience this time around. Among those 250 artworks, there'll surely be some new faces in the already fantastic lineup of artists. In other news, there won't be any new precons releasing alongside Arthurian Legends. Eric's Curiosa defends this questionable decision by wanting to provide a product that's all in the booster box. This is the first instance where I must genuinely criticize Eric's Curiosa. The beta precons were a fantastic starter product with unbeatable value. The perfect product for getting new people into the game and growing the community. On top of that, we haven't gotten any confirmation if beta precons will be reprinted alongside the second wave set to hit Europe and others sometimes in the next months. Most likely it won't. It certainly won't help getting people into Sorcery by forcing them to buy booster boxes in order to get a first taste of the game. Arthurian Legends will be the first set to be officially released in waves from the get-go, which will hopefully provide a nice steady flow of product and keep prices down over a longer time span. We also have to talk about the new Sorcery logo. I love the direction they're taking with this classical approach to texturing and color scheme, gold leaf and royal blue. Apart from that, all graphics used so far have been top-notch. I didn't talk about it in my last video, but we've also seen some images of the supposed set logo flying around, which looks very dandy. Generally, the flower motifs and all their graphics have been an inspired choice, and I can't wait to see the actual booster box design, as it'll probably end up gorgeous if these indications are anything to go by. Lastly, Mike Savardi mentioned in one of his live streams that there will be some kind of special foil treatment for Elvira Shekirova's line of Roundtable Knights, all done in these beautiful gold leaf frames, which we now know for sure will show up on the cards, at least on the foil version. I've also heard the words Chase Knights thrown around there, so you can expect these to become quite desirable. Okay, now that we got the most important updates out of the way, let's look at some new cards, shall we? Eric's Curiosa has blessed us with plenty more reveals since their first unveiling of the Roundtable all the way back in December last year. However, they already confirmed that most of the set will stay unspoiled until release, which is quite the exciting prospect in this modern world of endless spoiler seasons. First up, Love Potion with art by Tony Studlow. Love Potion was revealed to us back on Valentine's Day this year. As the fine folks over at Cardboard Guide already speculated, this could be part of a new cycle akin to the mixes in Alpha and Beta. Other than a love potion, we could also see a potion of disguise or a sleeping potion, like the one Morgan Le Fay gave Sir Alexander to make him sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. It's already exciting to see the impacts the new cards will have on the existing card pool, as Scavenging Fiend all of a sudden got a lot more playable. The most prominent love potion in Arthurian Legends stems from the story of Tristan and Isolde, to which there are many variations. In the story, the potion is brewed by Isolde's mother, herself a powerful sorceress. But the potion was not meant for Isolde and Tristan, but for King Mark of Cornwall, Tristan's uncle. On a ship voyage, Tristan and Isolde mistakenly or intentionally drink the love potion and fall into love. pretty much the way you would expect. It's a great and long tale with a tragic ending that I'd love to go into more detail now, but I might want to save it for a potential future video when all relevant cards are out there, so stay tuned for that. Tintagel with art by Lindsay Crummett. Besides being the seat of King Mark in the story of Tristan and Isolde and heart of the Cornish kingdom, Tintagel Castle is also attributed as the birthplace of King Arthur and one of the places where the knights held court. The conceiving of Arthur is another story unto its own, involving Merlin's malicious trickery. Also, Tintagel was once occupied by two giants until Lancelot got rid of them. As a card, Tintagel serves as our first instance of a triome speaking in magic terminology. In comparison to Color Out of Space and Pristine Paradise, its requirements are much leaner, as space in the back row is oftentimes readily available. I would love to see a full cycle of these tri-threshold sites make the set. The art by Lindsay Crummett also makes a strong case for most beautiful site we've seen so far. The remnants of the real Tintagel castle pale in comparison to this fantastical reimagination. Mesmerism with art by Drew Tucker. Mesmerism seems to be clearly more powerful in effect than its older sister Infiltrate. Though requiring an absurd commitment of 4 water threshold to be casted, it seems like an instant new staple in decks that commit to water. Generally, the theme of water rewarding commitment continues as we see the element identities further defined. Taking over the control of your opponent's minion with no ifs, ands or buts is one of the strongest effects in card games generally, and more often than not, highly priced. According to the article on Sorcery's website, the art portrays a devious druid in the process of performing a hypnosis spell, ready to stab his victim when the enchantment is achieved. As they already pointed out, the idea behind the card does not pull from a specific legend, though it kinda reminds me of Merlin's imprisonment at the hands of the Lady of the Lake Nimue. She enchanted and sealed Merlin away beneath a stone, or trees in some versions. Some more optimistic interpretations paint his end as a peaceful retreat Merlin willingly accepted. Coy Nixie with art by Lindsay Crummett. I feel like this is the first instance of power creep we get to witness as Sorcery is growing. Apart from the one less power, the Nixie trumps Guile Sirens every day of the week. In contrast, her effect can be triggered on the turn she's played, she also taps the units she's attracting towards her, and on top of all that, she may also target the enemy's avatar. Clearly, water is getting some buffs, which it seems to sorely need for early game. The Nixie is basically the siren of European mythology stemming from Germanic folklore. They are water spirits of ambivalent nature that often appear as beautiful women or men or in animal shape. Sometimes they may warn of incoming weather and help you out, other times they are known for drowning fishermen and children. Siege Giant with art by Druid Parish. Ah damn, how could I miss this one? It looks like another buried alpha artwork will make it into Arthurian Legends. This does lend credence to at least some of my predicted inclusions showing up in the set. The effect of throwing an allied minion to a nearby site is not only incredibly flavorful and befitting the original title Toss, but also a great additional movement tool in Fire's toolbelt. Notably, it says throw to a nearby location, which also makes the Void a valid target. Giants make appearances all throughout the countless stories of Arthurian legends and Celtic folklore, and widely range in size. Sometimes they are just men described as giant in statue, other times giants are their own entire species towering over the hills. Geoffrey of Monmouth even goes so far as to describe giants as the original inhabitants of Britain. Keening Banshee with art by Alan Pollock. Banshees are based in Irish folklore. It is said that the spotting of a banshee heralds the imminent death of a family member. This is accompanied by the female spirit screaming, wailing, shrieking, or as in this case, keening, which also refers to the traditional Gaelic Celtic lament for the dead. Keening Banshee makes a strong first impression and kinda begs to be played alongside Moon Clan Werewolf for ridiculous value plays. Can't wait to see how it does, especially in a draft environment. Alan Pollock is also low-key one of the GOATs. Camelot with art by Jeff A. Mangus. Camelot! Oh glorious Camelot! Jeff really put his all into this. Camelot, of course, Arthur's mighty capital and fortress home to the iconic Round Table, the symbol of equality between Arthur and his knights. Besides being the starting ground for quests, it's also been used for many a tournament. In comparison to Tintagel, which is a real historical place, Camelot's whereabouts are subject to speculation. Apart from its location, the origins of its name are also heavily debated. Camelot allows you to cast unique minions to nearby sites for 1 less mana. This will be an auto-include in every thematic Knights deck and might become essential down the road as the density of unique minions in decks increases.
Camelot! Camelot! Now say it out with love and joy!
Camelot! Camelot!
Yes, Camelot, my boy.
Sir Pelleas by Alan Pollack. We currently only have the artwork for this one, but I couldn't resist from doing a simple mock-up. Just by the nature of its underwater setting, I'm strongly assuming this to be within the water threshold. Pelleas' tale is one of unrequited love. The earliest version of the story appears in the Post-Vulgate, an early version of Arthurian Legends from the 13th century, more than 200 years prior to Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur. Though it is Malory's later version the art seems to pull from. In the story, Pelleas is madly in love with the maiden Ettarde, who is outright rejecting him. In a constant state of pursuit, Pelleas bests her strongest men over and over again, just to let himself get captured in the end and see Ettarde again, who is not having it and is not nice about it either. This goes so far that he plans, together with his buddy Sir Yvain of Green Knight fame, to... okay, listen to this. The plan is that Yvain shall bring Pelleas' armor to Ettarde and claim to have slain him, in order to gain sympathy from her, and then wingman him by convincing her that he's actually not that bad and not dead. This backfires immediately as Yvain falls for Ettarde and bats her within minutes. Pelleas catches wind of this, finds them in the act, and leaves with a broken heart. After days of depression in bed, he goes for a walk. While wandering through the woods, he comes to meet Nimue, a lady of the lake. After hearing of his plight, she casts a spell in which all hate Ettarde has for Pelleas turns to love, but all his love for her turns to hate, so that Nimue may have all his love for herself. Ettarde dies of love sickness as Nimue takes Pelleas into the lake with her, where they lived happily ever after. Ah, I love these wholesome tales. Power of Light by Séverine Pinault. Power of Light immediately sounds like it might be an air spell. One could assume it to give a target minion airborne, and this either at a lower cost than Blink or with more upside. Something's gotta give. Art-wise, Séverine never disappoints, as is the case here as well. There isn't anything to add in terms of story relevance, as I'm pretty sure this will end up being a nice utility card and not much more beyond that. Please feel free to leave your suggestions on card effects in the comments down below. I love reading them. Sir Yvain by Vincent Pompetti. There are many knights associated with the Round Table going by the name Yvain. This version pulls from Chrétien de Troyes' late 12th century poem Le Chevalier au Lion, or The Knight of the Lion, as confirmed by Pompetti himself. It's a classic tale of knight errantry in which our protagonist has to go through several trials and hardships in order to find peace and purpose. While Yvain did end up becoming a heroic knight throughout his numerous adventures, he didn't exactly start out as one. Essential to the story is a magical spring, home to the Lady of the Fountain, Lodine, who Yvain ends up marrying after defeating her husband Bodyguard, which made him the new guardian of said fountain. Feeling deflated and unaccomplished after some time guarding the spring, he sets out on adventure, with allowance of his wife of course, but soon loses track of time. At one point on his travels, Yvain comes across a dragon in battle with a lion. He slays the serpent and spares the feline, after which the lion stayed by his side as his loyal companion and helped him defeat numerous foes. From there on, he became known as the Knight of the Lion. The small scene on the left might show Yvain's battle at the spring, not quite sure about it, and the people behind him are likely the servants of the Lady of Norrison, who administered Yvain the cure after his mad frenzy episode. He was healed by an ointment made by his mother, Morgan Le Fay. But from everything I could gather, besides running and screaming naked through the forest, Yvain seemed like an honorable knight and cool dude by the end of it. We can expect more art and card reveals in the lead up to the official release, which again is on October 4th. I'm beyond excited for what's to come and cannot wait to crack my first pack of Arthurian Legends. Until then, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and I see you guys next time.